What's up, everybody? I usually don't do 2 videos in a day, but fuck it. I'm feeling called. And I'm feeling the call to discuss diet and food during this time. Because no matter where you're at in terms of your awareness, in terms of your consciousness, in terms of where you're at in life situationally, this is something that most, if not everyone, has gone through or is currently going through in some capacity, and is a major part of our culture and of our day-to-day life. This idea of food, this idea of diets, this idea of what is right, what should I be eating, what is wrong, what shouldn't I be eating. Um, as I become more spiritual or as I ascend into higher states of consciousness, should I, is it not okay to eat meat still? All of these things. All of these things. And there's so much, and yet it's so simple at the same time. Your beliefs have so much to do with how you want to play with food. And again, a lot of people can dismiss this and say no, like there's facts. And to a degree, that's true. But we have to remember that we create our own reality via the paradigms that we buy into and that we energize with our thoughts and beliefs and our reality, our emotions. So if you want to play in the reality that losing weight, if you're trying to lose weight, is going to be really hard and that you have to diet and that you have to give up certain things, you can do that. And you're going to experience much of the same. You're going to experience that to be your reality. If you believe that you're not going to be as spiritual as someone who is vegan, and because they're honoring animals and they're, pure, and you think they're purer than you, then you're going to try and do that and try and fit yourself in that box. Now, I'll keep saying this a million times still. There's nothing wrong. If you choose to be vegan, there's nothing wrong with that. If you choose to eat meat, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, a lot of people are trying to fit themselves in these boxes where they're not allowing themselves to have sugar when they actually are craving sugar. They're not allowing themselves to have meat, and instead they're participating in certain agendas that are beyond meat and not truly getting the fix that their body requires at this time to consume meat. So, look, I've been through the gamut of this, okay? And I only talk about things that I've either experienced myself or that I've heard from other people that resonate with me and that have happened in my own reality. So, again, there's a million things you can research on your own, but unless they actually happen to you, unless you've actually experienced them, they're not going to serve you. And people talking about them aren't going to be able to kind of, authentically serve you because they haven't actually gone through it. So everything I talk about is things that I've gone through. So for a while, I was under the impression that you had to eat really, really super clean. You had to be really, really rigid with yourself. You definitely had to be vegan. You even had to be gluten-free at all times in order to fully heal your body, in order to, ascend into higher states of consciousness. And what you'll find if you play in that game is, number one, it's really just it's the same side, it's the different side of the same coin that many people are playing in terms of a diet. You need to be rigid, you need to be restrictive in order to lose weight. In this case, it's the spiritual ego, in order to increase your consciousness. So I went through that. I went through being vegan, I went through being gluten-free, and there was actually a point where I was vegan in New York City for about 2-3 months, and I had a day where I was just feeling it really hard, was in very dense states of consciousness, and I went to McDonald's at like 2 in the morning and got I think a burger, fries, and just like a normal Coke, and watched The Office, and it was literally one of the best meals of my life after restricting myself to be vegan for 2-3 months, and on top of that gluten free. So my point is with this, we're stepping into a paradigm, and we're being invited to step into this paradigm where we aren't so hard on ourselves regardless of where you're at. So again, if you know that, and in the past, if you've had like coping mechanisms with food, which most of us have in some capacity, and in the past you consumed a lot of sugar, consumed a lot of meat, or consumed a lot of dense foods, consumed a lot of gluten, whatever it is. As we step into higher states of consciousness, as we raise in energy, we find it less and less important of being rigid. And you're going to see that there's going to be times where your body requires a piece of pizza, where it requires fries, where it requires a cookie, where it requires whatever it is, a bowl of pasta. There'll be days where you require nothing at all, where maybe you just want a green juice, or maybe you just want fruit, or maybe you just want whatever. Okay, but like, I want to really free people up from this rigidity that most people are living in. And we're gonna have so much more to, I don't even want to say worry about, but to deal with, where we've put such a pressure on food. If you can take that pressure off of yourself, I promise you, it's going to make your life a whole lot less stressful. And the things that you want, whether it's losing weight, whether it's stepping into higher states of consciousness, whether it's getting more muscle, those things are going to naturally come. This is the end of pushing. This is the end of restriction. This is the end of saying, I can't have this ever again in my life because, I need to be this, Again, there's some people who are naturally inclined to like the vegan lifestyle, who feel empowered by it, but there's a hell of a lot of people that are subscribing to the vegan lifestyle that don't want to be vegan, that haven't dealt with certain traumas, and are projecting that onto other people, saying you're bad because you eat meat. And that's literally just them projecting their own rigidity, that they can't have meat onto somebody else, when in the long term they just want to fucking have some ribs, you know what I'm saying, or some chicken wings, whatever their favorite meat is. But yeah, there's such a rigidity, and if people knew that a lot of the times, I'll talk about this too. For a while, I scared the shit out of myself. There was so much fear cleared from me around the idea of if I don't have green drinks, if I don't have fruit, there's so many, and God love them, but there's so many, even very popular, what do I don't want to call them, like natural healing people. Again, some are very, very popular on YouTube, on Instagram, that are kind of selling fear through the back door of saying, if you're not having these green juices, if you're not just eating fruit, if you're not, if you're having gluten, then bad things are going to happen to you. Then your body is going to start to break down. Then you're not going to ascend. Then you're not going to heal your body. Unless you're restrictive, you're not going to, your body's still going to break down. Like all of this stuff. You're going to go bald. You're going to lose this. You're going to, bad things are going to happen to your body. You're going to, all these things. And again, if those resonate with you, great. But for a lot of us, we're no longer going to be in such resonance with fear, even if it's coming from a different source, right? Many of us are used to experiencing fear from the Western medicine field of saying, oh my God, if you don't take these medications, like you're going to blow up, you're going to die, you're going to, You're not going to get better. But a lot of what I'm seeing and a lot of what is currently happening right now in the alternative fields is the same, again, the same fear, just on the flip side of the same coin. If you don't have these certain foods that are good for you, then again, something bad's going to happen, and you better buy my supplements, something like that. So that's something to look out for, because again, your beliefs are so powerful. And if you want to play, I guess this is what I'll end with, if you want to play in the paradigm of you can have whatever you want and you'll be okay, then you're going to be okay. And again, if you're having 20 pizzas a night, then you're probably not feeling your emotions. If you're bypassing through food, eventually that will come up. If you're though consciously on this path and you're dealing with your emotions and you're feeling your emotions, food never has to be a problem for you ever again. And you can be loose with it. You can be free with it. You can have, a hamburger and fries and a milkshake if you'd like. It's not going to affect you unless you're consuming it with the energy of, holy shit, this dairy is going to clog my fucking stomach. Holy shit, this gluten mixed with this meat is going to, make me have a stroke. Again, people, it's so easy to buy into those stories because you see people who are, full-on fruitarians, full-on green juice drinkers who tell you these things and have a lot of followers, and you start to get scared. But again, that's just a paradigm. And even if you believe it and you energize yourself with those beliefs, you're still probably going to be okay. But eventually, you're going to realize that, again, I'll keep saying this, it's fear just on the flip side of the same coin. So, yeah, if I could just pass that on to people, it'd be great. Because again, we have such a charge around food, we have such a charge around what is right and wrong, and there really is no right and wrong. There is a divine timing to have McDonald's. I don't care what's in the nuggets, and there's good evidence that there's not so malevolent things in the nuggets. But again, there's a divine time for McDonald's. There's a divine time for chicken fingers, for cookies, for sugar. And the less rigid we can be with ourselves around food and to attune to our bodies and what we need in the moment and trust ourselves and trust our desires and trust our cravings and consciously consume whatever we're consuming, the easier this shit will be. Because I'm telling you, food is going to be the least of your worries. Again, not that we've anything to worry about, but there's going to be a lot happening in the collective coming up. Not that there already hasn't been the last year and a half, but take the pressure off of yourself and let go of moralizing food based on other people's paradigms. Create your own paradigm, and one of the most freeing paradigms you can create is stepping out of duality in life in general, but also specifically with the food that you consume. Because again, I promise you, the more that you feel your emotions and the more that you're aware in your life and you're increasing in that awareness, the more okay it all is. And the less that even denser food will affect you. So I hope this helps. If you're going through food struggles or something similar, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Peace.